few years ago, two Chabad Yeshiva students went to visit an island near Alaska. Usually Chabad Yeshiva students go, every summer they go out to remote communities, literally to look for Jews. You find one here, one there. They came to this island, they were spending a good few days there to look for Jewish people. They couldn't find anybody. They were already frustrated, they gave up. Then they decided to go to the local elementary school to look, maybe there is a Jewish child. So they got permission from the principal, and they decided to go from class to class. And they knocked on the door, they got permission, obviously. They asked the teacher, is any Jewish kid in the class? Answer was no. The second class, no. From class to class. Come to the last class, they asked the teacher, are there any Jewish kids here? She said no. Or then they hear a little girl saying, Mommy, that we are not the only Jewish people in the world. It was the daughter of the teacher. The teacher got all scared. She turned to the boy, she said, quick, I'll talk to you later. They left the room, the classroom, and after the class, they talked to the meeting with the teacher and your daughter. The teacher said that they are the only Jews in the island, and she was worried, she was afraid that people should know that she's Jewish, that they are Jewish. Maybe there will be some anti-Semitic feelings or comments or whatever it will be. And she kept it as a secret. They had a very nice conversation, very warm conversation. By the end, they spoke about candle lighting. They turned to the little girl and they told her, listen, Jewish women and girls light candles Friday night before Shabbat. Now every Friday, the first Jewish women who light candles are in Australia. Shabbat comes in there first. 7 hours later, Jewish women light candles in Israel in honor of Shabbat. 6 hours later, Jewish women in New York light candles for Shabbat. 3 hours later, in California, they light candles. But then God is waiting for the last Jewish girl in the world to complete the cycle by lighting your candle. You are the one who is completing the cycle, and when you light the candles, then it's Shabbat all over the world. This girl later moved to Anchorage, and she's a part of my brother's community there in Anchorage. For generations, we only knew, most of the people knew that only married women light candles Friday night. 2 candles, one for yourself and one for your husband. But in 1974, a week before Rosh Hashana, the Rebbe was giving a special lecture in honor of Rosh Hashana to Jewish women, to women only. The whole synagogue was filled with, the main sanctuary is filled with women only, and the Rebbe spoke to women. And in this speech, he spoke about that there is a tradition by distinguished Jewish families from great rabbis, that by them is the custom that also little girls light candles Friday night. If the mother lights 2 candles, the girls who are not married light 1 candle. And the Rebbe said would be the right thing in a time of darkness, in a time that there is so much spiritual darkness in the world. We should add some light, some spiritual light, a physical light that really represents and reflects the spiritual light. The Jewish girls should start to light candles, 1 candle, every Friday night. And as the Rebbe started everything, he said, and I mean right now, that by Rosh Hashana, please reach out to many Jewish girls and women to light candles in honor of Rosh Hashana. And it became a big Chabad campaign. It's to go out with special kits, with a candlestick, a candle, matches, with a candle lighting time, with a blessing, the paper of the blessing, and stop people, women in Manhattan, in New York, everywhere in the world, and ask him, are you Jewish would you like to light candles this Friday night? And give him the kit. In hospitals and old age homes, everywhere. A year later, the Rebbe spoke about the campaign, and he said, we see already the result, the fruit of this campaign. And he shared two stories. One story was about a girl in Israel that she is going to a public school. In Israel also there is religious schools and there is secular Israeli schools. And there she's a young girl, maybe 6 or 7. She heard from a friend about this new campaign that you get a candlestick and you light candles, the girls light candles every Friday evening before Shabbat. She came home. She told her mother, I would like to light candles. Her mother said, we are secular. We do not light candles. It's not something that we do. You know, when your daughter wants to do something, she started to cry. She cried. Her mother said, you know what? You want to light candle? Light a candle. Leave me alone. Do whatever you want. Just let me live. She came Friday. She was lighting the candle. And she danced around the candle, and she was so excited about the candle, and she told everybody around the candle. And the mother moved on with her life. A week later, she was lighting candle again. And your mother felt bad, you know, to turn on the television right after she lighted the candle in the same room. She went to a different room. A week later, 2 weeks later, then the mother felt strange that your daughter light a candle, and she doesn't light the candle. And she started to light the candles too. Little by little, she used to dress up for Shabbat in honor of the candle lighting. Long story short, the whole house changed. From one little girl who started to light candles. And then the Rebbe shared another story, similar but the opposite, from England. A girl came home and she told her mother she wants to light candles. She heard about it in school. Somebody came and spoke about it. She wants to light candles. The mother said, be my guest. The mother used to light candles every Friday night. 6 o'clock every Friday night. Because the father used to close his shop 5 o'clock, to come home 6 o'clock before dinner. The mother used to light 2 candles. Now the daughter wants to light candles. Great. You're continuing my tradition. I'm so honored. Please join me. And they start to light candles. She used to light 2 candles. The daughter lighted her own candle. It was beautiful. Then winter came around. And the girl said, you know, they said in school that we have to light the candles before sunset. And sunset in the winter is 5 o'clock. That I have to light the candles before 5 o'clock. Mother said, no. When father comes home, then is the time we will light the candles. Before dinner. The daughter said, no, he said it's not the right time. As usual, the same scenery. She's crying. Mother said, you know what? You light the candle whenever you want. I will wait for daddy. She lit the candles 5 o'clock. Then the father came home. He walks into the house. He looks on the table. He sees one candle, his daughter's candle is lit, and his wife's candles are not. Became all discussion. What is happening here? The daughter says, that's the time to light the candle. After a whole discussion and maybe a little more tears, the father says, you know what? I will close shop an hour earlier and I will come home on time and you guys will light the candles together on time. That was the effect of one candle from one little girl. In 1988, when the Rebbe's wife, the Rebbetzin as we called her, passed away, the Lubavitch Women Organization decided to increase the publicity of lighting candles Friday night. They decided to buy a little advertisement on the front page of the New York Times every Friday that said, Jewish women and girls light candles every Friday evening, and they gave the time of the candle lighting time in New York. And if you live in another place, they left a phone number that if you call the number and you punch in your zip code, it will tell you what time you can light. It's the time. candle lighting time is in your place anywhere in the United States. And that was an unbelievable success. You were able to leave messages on the phone, and people were already asking questions about Judaism. Where can I find a rabbi for a bar mitzvah? Where can I buy a mezuzah? Any type of Jewish questions. This phone was used for many other things. And then came Y2K. The year 2000, the New York Times made on the day of 2000, they made a mock page, a mock front page, how it's going to look, the front page of the New York Times, 100 years from the year 2000. And they made different type of stories, like robots are demonstrating for, they want a break, they're making a strike, all strange things that were going to be in 100 years from now, so to speak. But then it was in the bottom, this little advertisement, Jewish women and girls are lighting candles Friday night, and they found out what will be the sunset time. The candle lighting time is that's written always there. Jewish women and girls light candles 18 minutes before sunset. They found out what's the time of sunset, and they wrote the time that's going to be in 100 years from now. When the editor of the New York Times of this page was asked, why you put it in? What motivated you? He said something profound. He was not Jewish. I think he was Catholic. He says, you know, what's going to be in 100 years from now? Nobody really knows. But one thing is for sure, Jewish women and girls are going to light candles on 18 minutes before sunset in 100 years from now also. And that's why he put it in. He said that's the only thing for sure he knows that he put in that's going to be in 100 years. The rest of it is just guessing. It's going to be in 100 years and in 200 years, and when Moshiach comes, it will be forever. In the parsha of this week, this Shabbos, we're going to read in the synagogue two parshas, Nitzavim and Vayelech. Nitzavim is a parsha that speaks about Moses making a covenant, is encouraging, is initiating a covenant between the Jewish people and God. You see, God in the Bible, God made covenants with people a few times. The first time was with Noah. Right after the flood, God made a covenant with Noah that he will never bring a flood again. And he gave him the 7 Noahite laws. That basically, it means believing in God, don't kill, don't steal, don't torture animals. Basic things that keeps us humans a civil society. That was the first covenant that God made that we read in the Bible. The second covenant was with Abraham. Abraham, God made a covenant with him that he will be the first Jew and his descendants will get the land of Israel. This covenant was when Abraham was 99 years old. The third covenant was at Mount Sinai. When God made a covenant with the Jewish people, when he gave them the Torah, he made a covenant that he will be their God and they will be his people. When you look at the progress of the 3 covenants, we see something very interesting. The first covenant, God initiated the covenant. He didn't ask from Noah for anything, for his participation, nothing. He just told them, I'm making a covenant that I will never bring a flood again. He gave him orders what to do, but he didn't have to do anything for the covenant itself. The second covenant with Abraham, God made a covenant with Abraham, but he asked from them to do something, and actually something painful, circumcision. And since then, Abraham, in all his descendants, had to circumcise. Circumcision in Hebrew, everybody knows the word for it is brit. Brit milah, a bris. Bris literally means a covenant. It doesn't mean circumcision. It means a covenant. There is Brit Nisuin, the covenant of marriage. Brit means a covenant. The third time, at Mount Sinai, when God was asking from the Jewish people to make a covenant, this time he told them, not only he wanted their participation, he told Moses, go there and talk to them, and now I want to know if they agree to make a covenant with me. And all even the Jewish people said, Na'aseh v'nishma, we will do and we will listen. Only then God made a covenant with the Jewish people and he gave them the Ten Commandments. That was the covenant that God initiated with the Jewish people, with Noah, Abraham, and Moses. Now, Moses, by the end of the Torah, right before he dies, he calls the Jewish people and he tells them, my friend, now it's your turn. You have to make a covenant with God. Until now, God initiated a covenant. Now you grew up, you're adults. You were children for 4 years. Now it's your turn to initiate a covenant with God. And he stood them up, all of them, as the Torah starts, Atem nitzavim hayom, you're standing all today in front of God, the men, women, children, every type of Jew, everybody together, and they made a covenant with God. Every year before Rosh Hashana, we read this parsha, the Shabbat before Rosh Hashana. Atem nitzavim hayom, Parshat Nitzavim. Because the Zohar says that you standing today refers to Rosh Hashana. Rosh Hashana, we are making a covenant with God. All the Jewish people, we come and we initiate our covenant. Just like Moses told the Jews, now it's your turn. And then Joshua once made a covenant with the Jews, and Ezra and Samuel. Every year, we're actually making a covenant with God. We're coming together on Rosh Hashana, we blow the shofar, and we're renewing our vows with God. We're renewing our commitment to Judaism. That's why, before Rosh Hashana, as we mentioned the last few weeks, is the time to make a covenant. What is to make a covenant? To do something, to initiate something, to initiate something on my own. If you didn't light candles Friday night, try to make it a weekly, something that you do on a weekly basis. If you're already doing it for years, influence another Jewish girl. Get a candlestick, with a candle, send it as a present to your niece, to your second cousin, to somebody that you have an influence. Write her a nice card. Then before Rosh Hashana, we send the Rosh Hashana card. Show her that you think about her and inspire her to light the candles. You inspire another person to do something Jewish that has a huge effect in our relationship with God. And when we initiate the covenant with God, when we come on Rosh Hashana, God will for sure give us a good Shana Tova Umetuka. Thank you all for joining me.